How are your hands doing today?
Amazing.
No
Awesome.
redness, no swelling, no um, weird texture. It was late last summer. Colin, we ended up taking to the emergency room because his hands were just so bad. They were bleeding. There were these little like blistery looking bubbles all over. He didn't have very good function. They were red, they were swollen. And so we took him to the emergency room and they gave him an oral steroid. And that calmed everything down. Went to the dermatologist. But over time it started to kind of come back. And so with the dermatologist, we worked to find a steroid that worked because you have to go like up the chain. You have to start at a certain level. That didn't work. So we kept going up until we got to a steroid that worked. But we couldn't find a steroid sparing agent that worked. So whenever we would go off the steroid, it would almost instantly start coming back and getting worse again. And not only, and it still didn't get like 100% better. It was just to more of like a level he could tolerate with the steroid. But beyond that, it was like thinning his skin and it just wasn't working. So because we couldn't find the steroid sparing agent, the next step from dermatology was to put him on a Dupixent like once a month shot. And we just were not okay with that. And so that's when we started NeoGenesis to see if that would make a difference instead of having to do the shots.
It felt terrible because the blisters were like bursting at every moment and just making my hands like feel crusty and like oozing, and there were so many cuts and like peeling skin. It just didn't like I couldn't hold a pencil. I couldn't even like write at all. And like for a point I couldn't do my clarinet. Like I couldn't play it because my hands wouldn't fit over the keys.
His hands were just so swollen, like the function. He would have to ask me to do like open jars and to do very simple things that he normally would have been able to do.
And that was the
So,
position I had him in like all day. It was like this position and I couldn't like bend him.
and as a sixth grader, that was really hard for him and really hard for us to have to watch.
So it was like I had scales ish. Like every time I touched something I could feel the blisters and it was just unsettling because like that's not my hand. What's happening? And it was scary.
So then you met NeoGenesis through who?
My aunt. She recommended it because it was working for her and she thought it might work for us.
So there was a time where we had to do the NeoGenesis and still use the steroid for because you can only use it for like 2 weeks at a time and then you have to go off of it. But then we started being able to go off of it for longer periods of time. And like the last time we had to use it, I think we were off of it for almost a month before we had to go back on it just to kind of like tame it down a little bit more. And we were using the NeoGenesis at the same time as the steroid throughout that whole up and down. And then we haven't been on the steroid since the beginning of like April, I think now at all. It's just been the NeoGenesis. We're still doing the NeoGenesis at night so that he's like sleeping with it on him. And in the morning on the little spots that we still kind of have. But we've been able to kind of decrease even the NeoGenesis frequency as it's been staying better.
I'm using the Recovery and then the Barrier Cream, and then I use the MB2.
Now describe what was going on, the highs and lows as things were improving. Hold up your hands for a second. How are your hands doing today?
Amazing.
No
Awesome.
redness, no swelling, no weird texture.
Yeah, that was another
Full
part of
range
it.
of
There was weird
motion.
texture.
It's been cool for me to watch because we had talked a lot about at the beginning, like it's going to heal from the inside out. And so you wouldn't necessarily see it right away. And we would notice changes like, the redness and the swelling would go down a little. But as we were using the NeoGenesis longer and longer, you could see like that new barrier. Like it actually looked like new, real, healthy skin again. You could see like his fingerprints again and even like his fingernails are much healthier looking as they've like grown in. Because for a while, those even
They
weren't
were
looking
bumpy
looking
and
great.
because the blisters were sprouting underneath them.
That's been a really cool thing to kind of watch it play out literally from the inside out. And it did take time. It wasn't, you know, right away, but it was cool to be able to watch that process, especially being on this side of it.
No, but your husband initially was a little bit skeptical, wasn't he?
Yes, yes, definitely.
What's he say now?
Oh, he's definitely a believer now. I will also tell you, we just went to the dermatologist, and she asked us point blank. She was like, "Do you think it's just a time of year when like he wouldn't have problems as much, or do you think it was this NeoGenesis stuff?" Because she never had really like we gave her the information and she kind of looked it up, but she didn't know much about it. And we told her that we were like 100% that it was NeoGenesis, and she was like, she's like, "This is amazing. I'm going to look into it." To see if I have some other people that this can help. So when we first brought it up to her that we were going to try it, I think she was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, I still think you should do the shots. So I think now we have her on our side believing it too. So that was a cool transformation to watch in her attitude and personality when we went just last week to her office.